This is Lizzie from Let Zoe Spoil You.
And Sagira from Sagira Salutes You. And together we are Newbie versus Weeaboo. Sagira, Newbie.
Lizzie, a weeaboo.
It's Newbie versus Weeaboo.
This podcast is brought to you by a veteran anime fan, myself Lizzie, who wanted to share their love with a friend. That would be Sagira, who is our newbie. Each week I make Newbie watch an anime film and we discuss it from the points of view of someone who has watched anime for 25 years, did a master's in Japanese culture and spent time in Japan, versus someone who has watched the Death Note in dub.
So Sagira, what did you think of our new anime today?
Okay, so this is a nice synopsis as always. Spell-wielding Playboy bunnies go on epic journey for a laugh, blowing people up, all the while being watched by and stalked by a pervy demon frog. The girls then help out a man to change the course of time so the elf apocalypse never happened.
Hey, so Slayers, the motion picture.
Slayer.
Which is one of the classics from back in the day that I was a bit obsessed with because I used to love the fantasy genre and I wanted to be Naga the Serpent.
I think because we watched quite a few sci-fi ones recently, I think I've decided that I prefer the fantasy genre of anime. I think it's just, for me, it's much more appealing. Like, it's a lot softer, the animation. And I do like whimsy.
Yeah, these are whimsical and humorous.
So I think from watching, I don't know, we've watched 5, 6 now.
Yeah.
I think I'm more turned to the fantasy over the sci-fi. But obviously I will watch more sci-fi because
I'll make you.
Anyway, so but yeah, I thought it was really pretty, this animation, like the backgrounds and the scenery, and whenever they did the moon and the stars and all that, and was like, oh, look at it. So yeah, definitely appealing to me.
I always have this thing, like the sci-fi and the cyberpunk stuff, like I watch for kind of the action, the darkness, the social commentary. I watch this because this is just makes me happy and I'm entertained by it. There's definitely not an inch of social commentary really going on in this.
And it's also nice, like the soundtrack as well. It's a lot more like your lutes and your flutes and your violins and all that glonky glonky nice music. And even when it's a battle, it's not as harsh as the sci-fi.
Yeah.
So yeah, completely different. I mean, you can say that there's a lot of things similar between them, but like I say, after watching quite a few of them quite quickly, there is a huge difference between the two genres.
Tonal shift.
Yeah. Okay, so on to the voice acting. So Lena, at first I didn't think her voice suited her. I thought she sounded too much like a teenager. Like
she is only about 16.
Well, this is it. But near the end, I started to feel like she sounded like Harley Quinn a little bit. I don't know, the inflections that she has and some of the things that she says, I felt it was a little bit Harley Quinn-esque. And then
Naga. Love Naga.
Naga. Yeah, so Naga, I felt like she needed to be more seductive. I felt like, she's got, like, she's like on the same level as Lana, like the same. Lena. It's going to happen a lot. It's the same as Lena, like obviously the same age because they're...
No, Naga's a bit older.
There you go. That's why she should be a little bit more seductive because she is a bit more worldly in her ways.
Yes,
and
she's also meant to come across as she's pretty dumb.
You can be seductive and dumb. You can have that.
She's not like clever and like I can like seduce you. She spends half the time just kind of going, oh, I'm amazing. Oh look, I'm drunk. I've fallen asleep. Oh, what's that shiny thing over there?
That laugh always reminds me of Zelda, the happy mask salesman.
It was a thing that used to happen a lot more in older animes with those characters. You'd get like the character that would turn up going, or basically like, oh, I'm so great and I know something you don't.
Which is very much the happy marksman in Zelda. Which there's another thing. When they did the elf stuff, I was feeling a Zelda vibe, like that kind of elfy looking, like the girl in it. I think she looks like Zelda. But then that made me think, like, Zelda is, in some ways, a bit anime.
Well, by the fact that it's made in Japan.
Yes.
And is, based on Japan's love of Western fantasy.
But stupidly,
similar scores.
But I stupidly never associated Zelda with anime. Never.
Yeah, see, that blows my mind slightly. But at the same time, I mean, I've never played a Zelda game. I'm just
You should.
not really. Oh, it's got puzzles in it. Like,
Yes,
which-
but they're apparently, if you play something like Wind Waker, then apparently, I've just learnt this, Link, his eyes will show you where to go if you're stuck. I've learnt that recently. So yeah, play Wind Waker.
Yeah, see, I'm still working
To
my
help
way
you.
through some of the Final Fantasies I haven't done yet, because I've got a couple of gaps in my like plays, so I'm just like weirdly stuck between things. Like I haven't done 9 yet. I've done 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 10, 11. And it's just like, wait a minute, 9 has not been completed. But yeah, no. To me, Zelda has always just been another JRPG.
No, it's not. That's really. But it
is a JRPG.
Watching Slayer, it occurred to me suddenly. I was like, oh my gosh, it is an anime. That's really weird. I've never associated the two together. One's a computer game, one's a cartoon.
I mean, I suppose they're made similar eras. I don't know when the first Zelda game started appearing.
But
then
this
is 90s again.
And then I would associate Final Fantasy as anime. So why I didn't think Zelda was? That's weird. No.
It's weird that you wouldn't think Final Fantasy is a... You would think Final Fantasy is a JRPG, but you wouldn't think of Zelda as a JRPG.
Yeah.
And I think the difference comes in the fact that the marketing for them are different. The consoles they came out for are different. Even though everyone knows that like Nintendo is a Japanese console, it's also thought of as like it's the family console. So a lot of people with that were played like... You could play it from quite a young age and have access to Zelda earlier, where a lot of JRPG fans... You could only play it on certain platforms. If you're like 7, 8, 9, you weren't necessarily playing a JRPG. I don't know how dark Zelda gets compared to the Final Fantasies. It can be pretty dark.
When you look into it, apparently it's very dark. There's things like they think Majora's Mask is either Link is dead or he's going through the 5 mourning periods, and another thing is that Navi died at some point, or Epona died. Like all of it's based around death, and
it's just really weird because I like JRPGs. I play a lot of them. Never found Zelda appealing to me, but maybe I should try it. Who knows? But I think they're made in a similar era, and if you're familiar with Zelda, then there's no wonder like Slayers would remind you of it.
Why is it that there is that fantasy? I mean, I'm assuming it's a man thing, but why it's skinny girls can eat and eat and eat as much as they like and still stay skinny, but then they're insulted for eating and eating and eating.
That's just being Asian. Come on, you met my mother.
Surely, but they always have the skinny girls eating loads, as if to say, look, you can eat as much as you like and you'll still be skinny.
I think it's more to do with the fact that, especially with this, there's that running joke of like how much they eat, and especially magic users, because it helps replenish all their energy. So it's like, oh no, I've done a big spell, now I eat and eat and eat and eat. It's also a kind of like, it's a kind of humour. There's like, look, that girl's eating a lot. Ha 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 ha. It's just really like, okay. But it happens like, well, especially when you start getting to like some of the ensemble casts, it's like any character that is a main character and goes off and uses a lot of power eats a lot. So like, Sailor Moon eats a lot. The characters of Dragon Ball Z are always like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's kind of more less to do with the fact that it's a skinny girl eating. It's this is a main character who uses their power, therefore they eat a lot. Because all the big powerhouses of anime and all the like those characters eat a lot.
See, now the magic thing makes sense. Using a lot of magic because it would use up energy, because you don't think of it being a physically exhausting thing, but of course it is, because you're using up all your energy to project it onto something else. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Going along with the look of them, there's a lot of boob action, but not in the fact that they're big boobs, in the fact that there's side boob, under boob, around the back boob. Like there's always some sort of boob sticking out somewhere.
So we all know that anime was originally created to kind of be an aesthetic based on Western like looks that would appeal to Japanese men. So like so much of the early anime was for a male audience, so it was how many different ways can you show a boob without showing too much boob, and it's just, there's just so much of it, especially when these, like, when they go on to series and they have the swimsuit episode, and there's always like, let's all look at these really impractical swimsuits. The ones that always get me are the ones where the swimsuit covers the top and the boobs hang out at the bottom of it.
Which is what was the girl's name? Shampoo?
Loafer pad.
Loafer pad, that's it.
And it's just like, I felt sorry for her. It's like, shampoo I got. I thought it was going to be like shampoo, conditioner, no. Shampoo, rinse, and loafer. And I'm like, couldn't you... There's lots of bath-related things you could be that aren't like loafer pad. I mean, yeah, that's silly.
But the three of them all had different parts of
you have boob window, under boob, and then...
top boob.
And yeah, regular boob. Yeah, it's various ways to show off boobs and be a bit fetishy and naughty and be appealing to look at, because boobs come in different shapes and sizes.
And why would they make Lena be small-boobed, but she wasn't small-boobed? It's like she's smaller boobed.
She's smaller boobed.
But if you're going to make someone small-boobed, make them small boobs. Like, don't have jiggly boobs all over the place and then go, oh, you're so small, look, pat,
I mean,
pat, pat.
in comparison to the rest of the female characters in the Slayers show manga, and the rest of the female characters that were coming out around about that time, she does have small boobs. When you watch it, you just look at her and go, she's so short and small boobed compared to all the other anime characters I'm seeing wandering around the place. And that is an ongoing joke for her. The whole, like, little girl, little breast, scared a dragon from its nest is a running theme through this movie, the manga, and obviously, like, you know, the 100-episode series that came out afterwards. It was just part of it. So, like, now I look at it and she just seems to have normal boobs to me, but at the time when I was watching it in the context of this and the other anime around it, she just seemed to have really small boobs compared to every other woman that was going on.
I don't see why you need to draw boobs at all. If you're trying to make out she has small boobs, just draw her flat-chested. You know?
Yeah, they still wanted her to have some boobs. And it's so that, like, I'm so young. The whole idea of it is because she has smaller boobs than the others, means that she's kind of, like, younger than the others, which means that she's not as womanly and therefore she's not as experienced, and people keep underestimating her because she's so small and small boobed. People all, like, the thing is, people think Naga is more impressive than she is because, like, well, this woman is tall and big breasted, therefore she must be really powerful, and they just kind of overlook Lena when Lena's got all the power. Naga's powerful, but she's also ditzy and just, she is not as strong as Lena, but Lena gets overlooked because her dimensions, her sight and thing, is just not imposing in this kind of fantasy world where everyone's kind of got big bouncy boobs and are tall and sexy, and she just looks like a child, and therefore no one takes her seriously.
Another thing why it's towards men is that it's got the fable concept of all women are beautiful, men are old, ugly and gawky. There's nothing for the women to look at.
In this one movie, not particularly. But, like, if you read the manga and watch the anime and stuff, like, I mean, my two favourite characters are Gary and Zelos, which are from the manga and from the series that this kind of, like, is a movie from, who, Gary's, you know, 6 foot, long blonde hair. I mean, he's dumb as a spoon, but he's got so much heart. And then Zelos is my other favourite character, who's incredibly into, I mean, he's a demon, so it seems a bit grey area, you don't know if he's good or not, but, you know, I was totally into him with his long dark hair and his piercing eyes, and he's like, it's a secret, I'm not telling you what I'm up to, and he's just like, I love you. And I used to have posters of him all over my bedroom. So from this movie, no, but then you get the character of Rowdy, who's only like a young boy in this, and then an older 1,000-year-old man. But just imagine him, like, when he hits his 20s, and he's got that long blue hair, and he's going to be so handsome, and then he goes straight to, like, old man.
But I can only go by what I've seen. I can't go by, this is what he would have looked like had we seen that.
Having never seen Gary, you will have no idea what he could have looked like. Yeah, from this movie, there's nothing for the ladies to watch, but, like, one of my favourite things about Slayers was I loved Gary, and, Zelos. Zelos was one of my favourite things. I had so many posters of Zelos when I was, like, 17. I was like, oh my god, I love you.
They showed the part with the village where the stone dragon, which I love. I love the two dragons, both of them. I think they were brilliantly animated, especially the water dragon.
I just like them. Delicious. It's like such an awful line, but at the same time it was brilliant.
But when the stone dragon falls down the side and starts destroying the town has a high wall in it. Yes?
Yeah. It's got a bit of castle and a wall around it, yeah.
Yeah. Is that a thing in Japan? Because that's in Titans as well. I understand that they build a high wall to keep the Titans out, but I've seen a lot more animes where there's towns with very high walls. Is that a Japanese thing, or is that just a fantasy thing?
No, they just seem to assume that all kingdoms have giant walls around them. Like, you only just start noticing it when you watch enough of this stuff, and after a while you just start noticing it's an aesthetic. So Titans is an actual, like, real reason for it.
Yeah.
But anything when it's based in European mythology or history, they take on designs from Europe. And if you actually look at a lot of early castles and things, like the designs for things like Camelot, which a lot of these are taken from, Camelot has really massively high walls. So that it's, all the influence comes from us. And if you actually look at castles, they have high walls. So it's just a design influence from them being obsessed with architecture of that period.
Why do slimes mew? Is it a cute thing?
Yeah.
Because, like, they're not that cute until they go mew, 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 and then you're like, aww.
I know, I don't know.
Because it's cat associated.
It's just cute. I think slimes are adorable. Like, if I actually met a slime, I'd be like, yeah, the slime. But in these animes, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that slimes was a thing in Japanese fantasy anime.
So is it just Slayer or Muse or slimes in, like, quite a few things?
Or Dragon Half.
Oh yeah, they were in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember, because Naga goes, no, I've got nothing for you, got slime halves.
Right, so they are just like a thing that
Yeah,
Japanese
they
love in fantasy.
Yeah, for some unknown reason, slimes turn up. Like, when I think of some other stuff I've watched, I'm like, oh yeah, there was a slime in that as well. And it's like, I don't know why, I don't know where they've come from. Maybe I'll look it up for, like, one of our future podcasts, because I hadn't realised that they were in both, like, emblems. But part of Japanese fantasy mythology is slime. Slime will turn up. And they are very cute.
They are very cute, but like I say, I think it's only the fact that they mew that I'm like, oh, look at the little cutie slime. If it didn't mew, I'd be like, yeah, it's a slime.
Yeah. It's the fact that they roll and jump. I like them in this one because obviously they're rolling and jumping, and they have that kindred soul with Naga. And it's like, I see there's some slimes attached to your chest. We're now all going to sleep on you too. And I'm like, oh, look at the little slime sleeping on your boobies.
And then we find that there's a horrific secret life where people use slimes as boob implants or something.
Yeah.
That's why they're secretly attached to people's boobs, because they're like, oh, you're a slime too. And it's like, they're in me.
Yeah. That a little bit disturbing. Let's not think about that. They're just cute little slime blobs that roll around going, mew, 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 mew.
Behind the slime. So the demon in it, he can be anything he wants to be. Why pick a pervy looking frog?
Why not?
Because it's a pervy looking frog.
Yeah. That's good.
I can kind of understand that it's like oh, he's a pervy looking frog, he's not too scary, blah, blah. Oh no, he's a demon! So I can understand
He's
that from a surprise
basically
point.
trying to be unassuming in his daily, like, blobbling around life. He's this, like, unassuming frog creature that people can overlook, and he just felt like he wanted to look like a weird frog thing that smiled at people, like, in that weird way. Like, yeah, that was just his aesthetic. He decided he wanted to look like that.
But surely you'd be something a little bit more seductive than a pervy frog.
Yeah, I don't know how much actually is in the fact that they can look however they want to, but I think they still, it's based on, like, once you watch the rest of the stuff, there's a lot more mythology that comes into, like, the demon kinds and the Slayer universe. But I think there's also a lot to be said about the nature of the demon also reflects kind of how they look.
Right.
So the fact that he was a bit of...
evil looking Kermit.
Yeah, he was just like, you can't 100% get away from your demonic nature.
Yeah.
Especially since lesser demons and stuff can't change their appearance and stuff. It's just the more powerful you get, depends on how well you can change your appearance. As I say, like, you haven't been introduced to him because this is just one movie as opposed to the series, but Zelos looks like a human, and you can tell just how powerful this dude is because he can look human. I think this demon, while being like a real demon, he wasn't a high demon, he wasn't a demon lord, so I think that's what he could get away with, what he could look like. So I think no matter what he did, he would look a little bit dodge, because he's not up there with, like, the big up demon kinds.
I like the shift in the way that it's all like, oh, it's all like happy fantasy and blah blah. Oh look, zombies. Oh, their faces are melting. It's like a really big change in
I love
the storyline. It's like, ooh, this got dark when the
good
demon
old
came.
kids anime, you
Yeah.
know, PG rated, you know, your 4-year-olds could be watching this.
Boobs and zombies.
Boobs and zombies, yeah, Japan has definitely a different, like, what's acceptable for kids, really. But, like, But yeah, I think it was only like, was it a PG when it came out here? I don't know. But yeah, no, they're quite happy to put some like horrific face melty scarring images in there going, yep, la 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 la, eventually no, things have got real now. This team is out of business. He's bored of playing about, minding his own business and biding his time. He's now like, now things got serious as a threat. Time to up the plan.
Up the plan, melt people's faces,
Yeah.
turn into zombies.
Yep. They dissolve them all so they turn into ghosts and go, ha! And curse that entire village to ghost them. Demons are very
It
nice.
was bleak.
Yeah. So poor village. I mean, I love the sense of humour in this series a lot. I also think this is a good... I watched this first before I went off to watch the actual TV show. And I'm so glad I did because I was like, I like these characters. These are good.
So was it the film first, then TV show, or TV show, then film?
I watched the film first. The actual TV show, I don't even know if it came out in the UK. I remember because I used to go to the anime conventions, they used to import the DVDs from America. So I bought an American box set. I don't even know if it was ever released here the same way. And it was one of the few that I bought on DVD because we were still having it. So my Slayers was on VHS, and then I was like, oh, DVD box sets, oh. And then you could have the dub and the sub, and you'd watch all the way through in one and all through in the other and do your comparisons. This is one of the few that I actually did watch dub and sub, because the dub seemed better in this than some of the other stuff, and better in this than some of the stuff that's being produced now, where I'm just like, what's going on? I think because this one was dubbed by people who actually were voice actors, so you can tell the difference by something that they've just thrown some, like, people to do the voices in, rather than that's a voice actor playing that role, because there's intonation and stuff. Like with Lena, I don't mind her voice. You can tell, like, when she's a tomboy, you can tell she gets stressed really easily and just can't pull off cute very well, because she's like, no, I'm an angry little tomboy who's really powerful and gets a really short fuse. So I liked the dubbing for this. But I think this film came out first, then they started making the series, and the series is brilliant up until I wasn't really into the later stuff. That it kind of had a resurgence with Evolution R and Revolution. I was like, this is not as good as the old one. But I like the old back. Slayers Next being the greatest series of it ever. But like, it was a really nice way to get into it. It's also nice because it was fantasy anime, and actually fantasy anime is kind of a genre that's died a bit now. Because fantasy anime now is no longer pure fantasy set like that was. It's all, oh no, I've woken up in a fantasy world. I've been sucked into a video game. There's no high fantasy. There's everyone's basically, I'm playing a computer game and now I'm in it being a knight. Which, you know, some of those things are brilliant. Some of them are not. Or it's like I've been summoned to another world where it happens to be a medieval fantasy world rather than it's just high fantasy. And Slayers was one of the top ones I used to adore, because no matter how silly it was, there was some really good mythology in there. Like, the fact that, like, she uses those summoning spells.
I love the fact the spells aren't fancy or anything. Like, she has the first part, which is fun, but when she's just like fireball, explosion, I like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need all the flimsy-flamsy Harry Potter-esque type words. You can just say, I want this to happen, and it happens, and I like that.
And then, like, she has the Dragon Slave spell, and that one, because it's an invoking a more ancient power, needs more wordy. And it's one of the things that when you watch the series, you'll find out the history of where those spells are coming from and where that magic is coming from. Also in this, it introduces you the idea that demons dimension jump. So they come out of those weird little portals because and that's how you know it's a higher level demon, or a real demon, rather than just a half-breed monster going And the fact that everyone in this is an idiot, and they're like, I'm going to fight you, I'm the 10th strongest, I'm the 6th strongest, I've got magic, and they're all like, oh yeah, you're just numpties. It's fun and good, and I don't know, there's been a bit of a death of like that high fantasy concept, and a lot of it became, this one is more accessible to both female and male viewers, especially with having female leads, and some of the stuff that came later, it would have male leads and became a little bit more pervy. I know they dress a bit provocatively in this, but when it started having male leads instead of female, they were forever perving on the sexy clad. And I'm like, just leave them alone, let them go and do their thing. You can be a sexy woman and run around and do stuff, but now I've got this guy who's continuously nosebleeding and stuff. Like the occasional like weird lecherous joke, or a bit of like, oh, I see you've got small boobs.
Yeah.
I can handle that, but...
No, I agree. I as much as there was no eye candy for the ladies, I I still enjoyed it visually. It didn't take away from it.
No.
Like, there was no handsome men. It's just it's girl power.
Yeah.
Look at what these ladies can do, dress so skimpily without getting wedgy or anything.
And one of the things you do notice is that Naga barely wears anything.
I did like Naga.
I want to be her so bad, but being a plus size girl, I've never lost enough weight to pull off a Naga costume. One day I will do it, and if not, I'm just going to have to be like fat 40-year-old Naga one day. You know, I've got
Naga in her 40s.
yeah, exactly. You know, I've got 4 years. You know, I'll get to that one. But actually, if you notice, none of the characters like perved on her or made comments to her. They would just like assumed that she was a powerful mage because of the way she dressed. So she power dressed and she knew what she was doing.
She had confidence.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Good. It's a good fun series.
So what should we score it out of?
Ooh, slimes.
Slimes.
Slimes. I mean, I think I'm gonna give it like a 4 out of 5 slimes because so much of this is based on like nostalgia and me going, oh, I remember that, I remember the spell, now I'm gonna go watch the series and stuff. And I do think the animation is nice. I do think it falls on the little bit of exposition. Then it does that weird time skip that if you're not really concentrating, you go from like, oh, my past was so sad, to the final battle with the demon, and then they're talking about, and now the ancient grudge of time means time magic. It's like, okay, so apparently he's a chronomancer, and he's been around for 1,000 years perfecting the spell, and everything is in alignment with the spirits, which people thought were fairies, were actually the souls of the elves floating around, and only by him dying, because he's immortal, does he release his spell to trigger an event so they can go back in time. But if you're not paying attention and you're not like going, okay, you'll just be like, oh, I lost my girlfriend, it was really sad, but I couldn't get the spell. Quick now! Oh, I've been stabbed! No, go through the portal, what is going on? You're like, oh, they've gone back in time. It was like, it seemed that was a little bit like, just like such a from a nice conversation around a table to suddenly death and time magic. So I could have done with a little bit more, like, what's going on there. Plus, they never explained the brainwashing octopuses.
Yeah, the jellyfish. What was that about?
Like,
I didn't even write it down. What was the jellyfish?
like, it kind of implied that the demon had sent out his evil jellyfish and was possessing people and, like, you know, so that they were controlling the flow of time, what people were doing, and getting lots of people to just spend their money and do their daily business, and he was using that to kind of slowly start manipulating the society so that he could have his big return and be like, but you never actually, no, there was no point where you realised where the jellyfish were coming from. You just, and then you kind of realise, like, what actually was Joy Rock doing?
Yeah, because you'd think that if he was a frog, he'd be sending out frogs, but it's not. It's jellyfish. So why is everyone? Unless it's just because everyone is obsessed with jellyfish. That is like, oh, I'm going to abuse this and send out my jellyfish, and then they'll befriend people and take over their brains.
They never explain that, and if you actually look at it, they never explain what Joy Rock was up to and what he was trying to achieve. It just went, bam, he's bad. And like, oh, there's a demon here. But you kind of look at it, it's like, so they had some fake resorts, and then he got angry and tried to kill Lena, so they went back in time. You're just like, wait a minute. There's some weird... So actually, like, if you look at the real story, and once you take out being entertained by it all, you realise that the plot makes absolutely no sense, and they have absolutely, like, where are the jellyfish come from? Why is it taking Joy Rock's, a few thousand years to come back? What's he trying to achieve? Why are there fake hot springs? Why are they importing water? What happened to the real hot springs? Where did they go? And if the elf genocide was saved, why are there still no elves?
Or maybe there is, we just didn't get to see them at the end.
No, because you just see the little, like, floating, at the very end with the credits, where you see the statue of Rowdy and Lena on the island, which is another thing. You see the ancient temple that's obviously been abandoned for ages. You've got Rowdy and Lena and the statue, and then you see the little soul blobs fly past, and you're like, okay, so the elves return the soul bomb still, but never mind, it's been thousands of years. I'm like, if there's a fucking statue to the saviour of the island, how come no one knew who she was? It's alright, I'm just not going to think about these things because I was just being enjoyable. So my nostalgia and my fun for it definitely gives me like the 4 out of 5 slimes. If I start pulling apart what? Wait a minute, it gave me absolutely no explanation of any plot, so it would drop it down to a 3. But nostalgia slime, I'm giving it.
I'll give it 4 as well because I like the fantasy. I thought the animation and the scenery and stuff was amazing. And like I said, the water dragon was superb, even though it was only there for a moment. And also it makes me want to watch more of it. Like I would happily go and watch the TV series now, but I don't know, there's something missing. Sexy men.
TV series has that.
I know, but no, it's not the sexy. There's just something missing. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something missing from it that didn't.
Plot that makes sense.
Probably the plot holes, yeah. But yeah, it's just needed one extra thing to make it a 5. But
yeah,
4 blobs it is, not blobs, 4 slimes it is.
Mew mew slimes.
Mew, mew, mew.
Yeah. And the fact that slime's like, yeah, boobs and alcoholics, I'm like, you know, I was just like, oh, I love it.
Boobs and alcoholic slimes. What more do you need from anime?
There we go.
Hope you enjoyed the episode. This is Lizzie from Let Zoe Spoil You signing off. And if you did like what you heard and want to hear more from me, you can find me as Let Zoe Spoil You on YouTube, Instagram, Tumblr and Twitter.
And if you'd like to know more from Sagira, you can find me on YouTube, Tumblr and Twitter.
But for now, this is a weeaboo saying Janny.
And Newbie saying, see ya!